You never think a business trip could unravel your entire life, but mine did. In just 2 weeks away, my wife decided our marriage was over, and what she did next would change everything forever. The first few days in Tokyo were intense. Our team was finalizing a critical software integration project for a major Japanese tech firm. Long days of meetings, presentations, and strategic planning consumed my time. I'd usually catch Lauren up during our evening video calls, sharing snippets about the conference, the team's progress, and the fascinating cultural experiences. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. Those calls felt normal. Lauren seemed engaged, asking detailed questions about the project, sharing updates about her work. She mentioned a big marketing campaign launching soon, seemed stressed but excited. I remembered thinking how lucky I was, a supportive wife, who genuinely cared about my professional journey. On the 5th night, something felt slightly off. The video connection was a bit choppy, and Lauren seemed distracted. When I asked if everything was okay, she quickly changed the subject, redirecting our conversation to my conference details. At the time, I chalked it up to her typical work stress. What I didn't know was that Lauren had already set something significant in motion. The morning of my presentation to the International Tech Consortium, I received an unexpected email from our family lawyer, Michael Rodriguez. The subject line read, "Urgent dissolution of marriage documents." I assumed it was a mistake, perhaps some administrative error. During a break between sessions, I opened the email. Attached were comprehensive divorce papers, meticulously prepared, requesting immediate signature. My hands trembled slightly as I scrolled through the document. The grounds for divorce were vague, irreconcilable differences, but the financial and property division seemed carefully calculated. Our shared Seattle condo, joint investment, accounts, even details about potential future earnings were comprehensively outlined. My first instinct was confusion. We hadn't discussed separation. Our last conversations had been about planning a potential vacation, discussing potential home renovations. Nothing suggested our marriage was in crisis. I tried calling Lauren, straight to voicemail. Sent a text. No. Immediate response. The timing felt deliberate, knowing I was thousands of miles away, limited in my ability to immediately confront or understand what was happening. My colleagues noticed my sudden change in demeanor. During a networking lunch, I struggled to maintain professional composure. My mind raced with questions. Why now? What had changed? Was there someone else? The next 48 hours became a blur of international calls, sporadic communication with Michael, and attempts to reach Lauren. Her responses were brief, clinical, almost like she was following a predetermined script. "We've grown apart." One text. Read. "This is best for both of us." Best for both of us? The phrase felt like a knife twist. We had always prided ourselves on open communication, on working through challenges together. This felt like a unilateral decision, executed with surgical precision. My team leader, Akira Tanaka, noticed my distraction. A seasoned professional with decades of experience, he pulled me aside during a break. "Personal challenges?" he asked. More a statement than a question. I found myself sharing minimal details, maintaining professional boundaries, but Akira's wisdom was evident. "Sometimes," he said, "life's greatest transformations begin with unexpected disruptions." Little did I know how prophetic those words would become. By the time I returned to Seattle, the emotional landscape of my life had fundamentally shifted. A meticulously planned divorce awaited my signature, and the woman I had built a life with seemed like a stranger. The journey of understanding was just beginning. The first week back in Seattle was a surreal descent into emotional chaos. My downtown condo, once a sanctuary of shared memories, now felt like a crime scene of a relationship's sudden death. Lauren had strategically moved out before my return. Her belongings were meticulously removed, no hastily packed boxes, no emotional remnants, just calculated precision. The apartment was clean, almost sterile, with only my possessions remaining. My first move was to understand, not to fight, not to argue, but to comprehend. I'm a problem solver by profession. Software engineering demands logical analysis of complex systems. I applied the same methodology to my personal crisis. I started by reviewing our communication history, text messages, emails, shared calendar events. The digital breadcrumbs of our relationship revealed subtle shifts I'd previously overlooked. 3 months ago, Lauren's communication patterns had changed. Shorter texts, more professional tone, less personal sharing. At the time, I'd attributed it to her high-stress marketing job. Now, these seemed like calculated distancing mechanisms. Discovered something else during my investigation. A series of deleted calendar invites for couples counseling, appointments she'd apparently made and then removed. Scheduled during my previous business trips, never discussed. My professional network became an unexpected support system, not through direct intervention, but through professional perspective. Tech industry relationships are built on trust, communication, and strategic problem-solving, skills that proved unexpectedly transferable to personal crisis management. Mark Thompson, my closest work colleague and longtime friend, became my initial confidant. A divorced father of 2, he understood the complex emotional terrain I was navigating. Documentation is key, he advised. Protect yourself professionally and personally. In tech and in life, evidence matters. I followed his advice methodically. I compiled a comprehensive timeline of our relationship's recent evolution, cross-referencing digital communications, financial records, and personal observations. The picture emerging was complex. Lauren hadn't just decided to end our marriage. She had orchestrated a carefully planned separation. The divorce papers weren't just legal documents. They were the final stage of a meticulously executed strategy. My investigative approach wasn't about finding fault. It was about understanding. Why would someone choose surgical separation over communication? What fundamental breakdown had occurred that I'd missed? Professional counseling became my next strategic intervention, not couples therapy. Individual counseling to help me process and understand. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a relationship psychologist specializing in professional couples, became my guide. Her approach was refreshingly analytical, less emotional narrative, more systemic understanding. Relationships are complex ecosystems, she explained during our second session. Sometimes gradual disconnection happens so subtly that neither party recognizes it until a critical point of no return. Her insights were revelatory. She helped me understand that Lauren's approach wasn't about malice, but about self-preservation. Something had fundamentally shifted in our relationship's dynamic, and the divorce papers were her chosen method of addressing it. Meanwhile, my professional life demanded continued excellence. Technova Solutions was midway through a critical product launch. My personal crisis couldn't interrupt our team's momentum. I compartmentalized effectively, a skill honed through years of high-pressure software development. By day, I led complex technical discussions. By night, I systematically decoded the dissolution of my marriage. The divorce papers sat on my home office desk, a constant reminder of the transformation underway. Not a weapon, but a signal, a communication. Method chosen when direct dialogue seemed impossible. My goal wasn't to contest the divorce. It was to understand, to learn, to grow. Little did I know, the most significant revelations were yet to come. The rising tension of my personal transformation manifested in unexpected ways. My professional network at Technova Solutions became an unintended support system. witnessing my gradual metamorphosis without fully understanding its origins. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Mark Thompson, my closest work colleague, noticed the subtle shifts first. "Something's different about you," he observed during a project strategy meeting. "You're more focused, almost intentional in everything you do." He wasn't wrong. The dissolution of my marriage had triggered a form of professional hyper-awareness. Each technical challenge became a metaphorical representation of my personal reconstruction, methodical, strategic, deliberate. Our current project involved developing an adaptive AI system for predictive maintenance in industrial settings. The parallels weren't lost on me. Just as we were creating an algorithm that could anticipate potential system failures before they occurred, I was essentially performing the same diagnostic work on my personal life. Dr. Rodriguez's counseling sessions provided critical insights. "Relationships, like complex systems, have warning signals," she explained. "The key is recognizing them before complete system failure." I began documenting everything, not out of bitterness, but with a scientist's objective curiosity. Text message patterns, communication frequencies, subtle behavioral shifts, all became data points in understanding the systemic breakdown. Lauren's communication remained minimal. Legal correspondence channeled through Michael Rodriguez, our family lawyer, became the primary mode of interaction. Each email was precise, devoid of emotional context, a stark contrast to our previous collaborative communication style. The financial implications became clearer. Lauren had strategically positioned herself during our separation. Joint investment accounts were methodically divided, retirement portfolios redistributed with clinical efficiency. It wasn't about punishment. It was about clean, decisive separation. My tech background proved unexpectedly beneficial. I approached the divorce like a complex software migration, identifying critical data points, managing potential conflicts, ensuring minimal disruption. To core systems, Technova's leadership noticed my enhanced performance. An unexpected promotion emerged, lead architect for our most complex AI integration project. The timing felt symbolic. As my personal life underwent fundamental restructuring, my professional trajectory accelerated. "Your ability to remain objective under pressure is remarkable," my director Sarah Chen commented during my performance review. She didn't know the personal crucible I was navigating, but recognized the professional resilience it was generating. The isolation was profound, but not debilitating. I reconnected with old friends, expanded my professional network, and invested heavily in personal development. Weekend coding workshops, advanced certification programs, meditation retreats. Each became a building block of reconstruction. Mark introduced me to a local entrepreneurs network. Listening to stories of professional pivots, personal reinventions, I recognized a universal narrative of transformation. My divorce wasn't a conclusion. It was a complex transition. Slowly, intentionally, I was rewriting my narrative, not as a victim, but as an active author of my life's next chapter. The first significant obstacle emerged 3 months after Lauren's initial divorce filing. A workplace rumor mill began churning, subtly questioning my personal stability. During a critical team leadership meeting, I overheard fragments of hushed conversations. Colleagues weren't overtly hostile, but a palpable uncertainty surrounded my professional interactions. The whispers weren't malicious, more a subtle undercurrent of speculation about my personal life's potential impact on professional performance. My boss, Sarah Chen, requested an impromptu meeting. Her approach was direct, professional, yet tinged with unexpressed concern. "Jake, we value your contributions," she began, "but leadership requires emotional stability. Our upcoming international project demands consistent, predictable performance. The subtext was clear. Personal challenges couldn't compromise professional execution. I recognized this as my first major test. The workplace wasn't just evaluating my technical capabilities, but my resilience. My response would define my professional narrative. Instead of becoming defensive, I leveraged my analytical skills. I prepared a comprehensive project strategy document that not only addressed our technical objectives, but demonstrated exceptional strategic thinking. Each slide, each proposal became a statement of professional competence. My counselor, Dr. Rodriguez, provided crucial perspective during this period. Professional identity isn't separate from personal growth, she emphasized. They're interconnected systems constantly informing each other. The divorce proceedings continued in parallel, becoming increasingly complex. Lauren's legal team began requesting additional documentation, financial disclosures that seemed increasingly intrusive. Michael Rodriguez, our family lawyer, became my strategic advisor. These requests aren't random, he explained during one consultation. They're mapping potential negotiation territories. My technical background proved unexpectedly valuable. I approached legal documentation with the same meticulous attention I'd apply to complex software architecture, identifying potential vulnerabilities, anticipating strategic maneuvers. The psychological pressure was significant. Each legal correspondence felt like a calculated chess move. Lauren's strategy remained opaque, her motivations unclear. I started practicing meditation, attending professional development workshops. These weren't just coping mechanisms, but intentional skill-building exercises. Emotional regulation became as critical as technical proficiency. My social circle underwent significant transformation. Some friendships, particularly those shared with Lauren, became awkward, distanced. Others, particularly professional connections, deepened. Mark Thompson became more than a colleague. He became a mentor, helping me navigate the complex terrain of personal reinvention while maintaining professional momentum. Adversity isn't a roadblock, he would often say. It's an opportunity for recalibration. The midpoint of my personal transformation arrived unexpectedly during a routine professional conference in Chicago. A chance encounter with an unexpected ally would become the pivotal moment that changed everything. Elena Martinez, a renowned organizational psychologist specializing in professional resilience, attended the same conference. Our initial conversation began casually, a professional networking interaction that quickly evolved into something more profound. Transitions are not failures, she told me during a late evening conference networking session. They're recalibration points. Your current challenge isn't about ending something, but about strategically redesigning your life's architecture. Her perspective resonated deeply. As a software architect, I understood system redesign intimately. Relationships, like complex software systems, could be strategically reimagined rather than simply abandoned. I shared minimal details about my personal situation, but Elena's insights were penetrating. She recommended a comprehensive life audit, a methodical approach to understanding personal and professional ecosystems. The audit became my new strategic framework. I began systematically evaluating every aspect of my life: professional networks, personal relationships, financial structures, emotional health, and long-term objectives. My approach wasn't reactive, but proactively transformative. Each element became a potential opportunity for strategic redesign. Professionally, this meant expanding my skill set beyond traditional software engineering. I enrolled in advanced machine learning workshops, obtained specialized certifications in AI ethics and adaptive systems design. Technova noticed my market value was increasing exponentially. Financially, I consulted with independent financial advisors. The divorce proceedings had potential economic implications, but I was determined to view this as a strategic restructuring opportunity rather than a loss. Michael Rodriguez, my family lawyer, became increasingly impressed with my approach. Most clients become emotionally reactive, he commented during one consultation. You're treating this like a complex technical migration. The legal proceedings continued, but my energy was no longer consumed by them. Instead, I was actively constructing my next professional and personal iteration. Lauren's legal team continued their systematic approach, but I was no longer a passive recipient. Each communication became an opportunity for strategic positioning. My personal network underwent significant transformation. Some relationships naturally dissolved, while others deepened. Mark Thompson and a select group of professional colleagues became my core support ecosystem. Dr. Rodriguez's counseling sessions evolved. We moved beyond processing the divorce to actively designing my personal growth strategy. You're not just healing, she observed. You're engineering a comprehensive personal system upgrade. The conference in Chicago became a turning point. What began as a routine professional development event transformed into a catalyst for holistic personal reconstruction. Elena Martinez's final advice echoed persistently. Your current challenge isn't about what you've lost. It's about what you're preparing to build. The escalation of my personal and professional transformation reached a critical point 6 months after Lauren's initial divorce filing. What had begun as a personal crisis was now becoming a strategic redesign of my entire life's architecture. Technova Solutions presented an unexpected opportunity, a leadership role in a groundbreaking AI ethics project. The timing was symbolic. As I was reconstructing my personal narrative, I was simultaneously helping design ethical frameworks for adaptive technological systems. My approach to the project mirrored my personal journey. Each algorithmic decision, each ethical consideration, became a metaphor for personal growth. How do complex systems adapt? How do they maintain integrity while undergoing fundamental transformation? Lauren's legal team continued their systematic approach, but my responses had become increasingly strategic. Michael Rodriguez noted the shift during one consultation. You're no longer reactive, he observed. You're treating this like a complex negotiation, anticipating potential moves several steps ahead. The financial implications of the divorce became clearer. Lauren had positioned herself carefully, but I was no longer a passive participant. Each financial disclosure, each legal document became an opportunity for strategic positioning. My professional network expanded strategically. Networking events, professional conferences, specialized workshops became my primary venues for personal and professional growth. I wasn't just rebuilding, I was intentionally designing a more robust personal ecosystem. Dr. Rodriguez's counseling sessions evolved into strategic life design consultations. You're not just processing a divorce, she noted. You're conducting a comprehensive personal system audit and redesign. The AI ethics project at Technova became my primary focus. We were developing adaptive algorithms that could recognize and respond to complex ethical dilemmas, a metaphorical parallel to my personal journey. Mark Thompson became more than a colleague. He was a strategic advisor in my personal transformation. Resilience isn't about avoiding challenges, he would say. It's about developing the capacity to navigate them effectively. My living situation underwent a deliberate transformation. I moved to a new downtown loft, a space that reflected my emerging identity, modern, minimalist, with dedicated areas for work, personal development, and creative exploration. Financial advisors helped me restructure my investment portfolio. Each decision was carefully considered, balancing risk mitigation with growth potential. The divorce was becoming less of a personal crisis and more of a strategic life pivot. Professional certifications became my new focus. Advanced machine learning, programs, ethical AI design courses, leadership development workshops, each became a building block in my personal reconstruction. The legal proceedings continued, but they no longer consumed my emotional energy. Lauren's legal team's approach remained systematic, but I was now several steps ahead in the strategic negotiation. My social circle transformed. Some relationships naturally dissolved, while others deepened. I became more intentional about my connections, seeking out individuals who aligned with my emerging personal and professional vision. The narrative was shifting. I was no longer defined by the divorce. I was the architect of my own transformation. The lowest point arrived unexpectedly, not as a dramatic moment, but as a gradual psychological erosion that threatened to unravel my carefully constructed resilience. A routine company meeting became the unexpected trigger. During a presentation on adaptive system design, I caught a peripheral glimpse of vulnerability I'd been suppressing. My professional persona, meticulously constructed, strategically maintained, suddenly felt like a fragile facade. Sarah Chen, my director, noticed the momentary crack in my composure. Her post-meeting conversation was subtle but penetrating. "Jake, your technical insights are exceptional," she said, "but leadership requires more than algorithmic precision. It demands emotional intelligence." Her words struck deeper than she intended. The divorce wasn't just a legal process or a personal challenge. It was a fundamental test of my ability to maintain integrity under extreme psychological pressure. The legal proceedings entered a complex phase. Lauren's legal team began introducing increasingly intricate financial arguments. Each document felt like a calculated psychological warfare strategy. Michael Rodriguez warned me during one consultation. "They're not just negotiating a divorce settlement, they're attempting to destabilize your emotional equilibrium." My support ecosystem became critical. Mark Thompson and a select group of professional colleagues provided more than professional support. They became a lifeline of psychological stability. Dr. Rodriguez's counseling sessions evolved into strategic psychological reconstruction workshops. "You're experiencing a profound identity transition," she explained. "The challenge isn't just surviving the divorce, it's reimagining yourself without losing your core essence." The AI ethics project at Technova became my psychological anchor. Designing adaptive algorithms that could navigate complex ethical landscapes became a metaphorical representation of my personal journey. Nights became the most challenging. The silence of my new downtown loft amplified internal dialogues. Memories of shared moments with Lauren would surface, not as bitter recriminations, but as complex emotional landscapes that demanded careful navigation. I began documenting my internal journey, not as a victim's narrative, but as a systematic exploration of personal transformation. Each entry became a data point in understanding psychological resilience. Professional networking events became more than career opportunities. They were controlled environments for testing my emerging personal narrative. Each interaction was a carefully calibrated psychological experiment in reconstructing personal identity. Financial advisors helped me understand the economic dimensions of my transformation. The divorce wasn't just an emotional process. It was a comprehensive life restructuring that demanded strategic financial planning. My physical health became a priority. Structured fitness routines, nutrition optimization, mental health practices, each became a deliberate strategy in maintaining psychological stability. The lowest point wasn't a moment of defeat. It was a profound confrontation with vulnerability, a recognition that true strength emerges not from avoiding emotional complexity, but from navigating it with intentional resilience. The turning point emerged during an unexpected conversation with Elena Martinez, the organizational psychologist I'd met at the Chicago conference. A follow-up video call would become the catalyst for my most significant personal breakthrough. "Your current narrative isn't about the divorce," she said, her insight cutting through my carefully constructed professional demeanor. "It's about understanding the systemic patterns that led to this moment." Her words triggered a comprehensive personal audit more profound than any previous analysis. I began mapping the relational dynamics of my marriage, not as a victim, but as a systems analyst, examining a complex interconnected network. The AI ethics project at Technova provided an unexpected parallel. We were developing algorithms capable of recognizing complex behavioral patterns, of understanding nuanced human interactions. My personal journey was becoming a living case study. Lauren's legal team continued their strategic approach, but I was no longer reactive. Each communication became an opportunity for strategic positioning, for understanding the deeper relational dynamics at play. Michael Rodriguez noticed the shift during our next consultation. "You're approaching this like a complex technical challenge," he observed. "Most clients become emotionally overwhelmed. You're developing a meta-perspective." My professional network became increasingly instrumental. Networking events transformed from mere career opportunities to sophisticated personal development platforms. Each interaction became a carefully calibrated exploration of interpersonal dynamics. Dr. Rodriguez's counseling sessions evolved into advanced personal strategy workshops. "You're not just processing a divorce," she emphasized. "You're conducting a comprehensive forensic analysis of relational systems." The breakthrough came unexpectedly. While reviewing project documentation for our AI ethics initiative, I recognized profound parallels between adaptive technological systems and human relationship dynamics. Relationships, like complex software systems, require continuous maintenance, strategic recalibration, and an understanding of underlying communication protocols. My marriage hadn't failed. It had simply reached a point of necessary systemic redesign. Mark Thompson provided crucial perspective. "Resilience isn't about avoiding challenges," he reminded me. "It's about developing the capacity to navigate them with strategic intelligence." My living space reflected this transformation. The downtown loft became more than a residence. It was a physical manifestation of my personal reconstruction. Minimalist, intentionally designed, with dedicated spaces for professional development, creative exploration, and personal growth. Financial. Advisors helped me understand the economic dimensions of personal transformation. The divorce wasn't a financial setback, but an opportunity for strategic economic repositioning. The legal proceedings continued, but they no longer defined my narrative. Lauren's legal team's systematic approach had become just another complex system to navigate, to understand, to strategically respond to. Professional certifications became more than career advancement tools. Advanced machine learning programs, ethical AI design courses, leadership development workshops, each became a building block in a comprehensive personal redesign strategy. Elena Martinez's final insight resonated deeply. Your current challenge isn't about what you've lost. It's about developing the capacity to continuously redesign your personal and professional ecosystems. The climax arrived during a meticulously prepared mediation session, the final legal confrontation that would determine the ultimate resolution of our divorce proceedings. Lauren entered the conference room looking markedly different from our previous encounters. Gone was the confident professional demeanor. Instead, she appeared subdued, almost fragile. Victor, her lawyer, sat beside her, his previous smugness replaced by a cautious professionalism. Michael Rodriguez, my legal representative, had prepared me extensively. "This isn't about winning," he'd advised. "It's about reaching a resolution that allows both parties to move forward." The mediation room felt charged with unspoken tensions. Years of shared history, complex emotions, and unresolved narratives converged in this single moment. Our mediator, a seasoned professional named Karen Reynolds, began by establishing ground rules. Her approach was methodical, designed to create a space for honest communication rather than adversarial confrontation. "Today," she stated, "we're here to find a path forward, not to assign blame." Lauren spoke first. Her statement was carefully prepared, yet moments of genuine emotion broke through the professional veneer. She acknowledged the systematic way she had approached our separation, a calculated strategy that had begun long before the divorce papers. "I realized our relationship had become a series of parallel lives," she explained. "We were living together, but not truly connecting." Her words revealed a deeper narrative. The divorce wasn't just about separation, it was about a fundamental misalignment of personal growth trajectories. My response was equally measured. Drawing from months of personal work, counseling, and strategic self-reflection, I approached the conversation as a collaborative problem-solving exercise. "Our challenge wasn't about fault," I stated. "It was about understanding the systemic breakdown in our communication and personal growth mechanisms." The room fell silent. Victor, Lauren's lawyer, looked momentarily stunned by the absence of typical emotional volatility. Michael Rodriguez nodded subtly, a signal of strategic communication excellence. The financial negotiations became a strategic dance. Each asset, each shared investment, was evaluated not as a battleground, but as a collaborative redistribution of shared resources. Karen Reynolds guided the process with exceptional skill. She recognized that this wasn't a typical adversarial divorce proceeding, but a sophisticated negotiation between two professionals committed to a dignified resolution. Hours passed. The initial tension gradually transformed into a surprisingly constructive dialogue. We weren't just dissolving a marriage, we were redesigning our individual life architectures with mutual respect. As the session concluded, something unexpected happened. A moment of genuine human connection emerged, brief, subtle, but profoundly significant. Lauren's final statement captured the essence of our journey. "We grew apart," she said, "but that doesn't diminish the value of what we once shared." The aftermath of the mediation session marked a profound turning point in my personal and professional journey. What had begun as a potentially destructive legal process transformed into a strategic life redesign. Technova Solutions recognized the personal growth I had undergone. My leadership on the AI ethics project earned me a significant promotion. Lead strategist for innovative technological solutions. The irony wasn't lost on me. As I reconstructed my personal life, I was simultaneously helping design adaptive technological systems that could navigate complex ethical landscapes. Sarah Chen, my director, acknowledged the transformation. "Your ability to maintain professional excellence during personal challenges is remarkable," she noted during my performance review. "You've demonstrated exceptional resilience." The financial settlement became more than a legal document. It was a strategic redistribution of shared resources, approached with the same analytical precision I applied to complex software architecture. My support ecosystem, Mark Thompson, Dr. Rodriguez, Michael Rodriguez, had been instrumental in navigating this transformation. They weren't just professional contacts or service providers. They were strategic partners in my personal reconstruction. Professional networking took on new dimensions. Each conference, each workshop became an opportunity for holistic personal and professional growth. I was no longer just advancing a career, I was intentionally designing a comprehensive life strategy. The downtown loft underwent a final transformation. What had initially been a space of isolation became a hub of personal and professional development. Dedicated areas for creative exploration, strategic planning, and personal wellness reflected my holistic approach to life design. Lauren's final communication came unexpectedly, a brief, carefully worded email acknowledging our mutual growth. "We've both found our paths," she wrote. The message wasn't an attempt at reconciliation, but a recognition of our individual journeys. Dr. Rodriguez's insights proved prophetic. "Divorce isn't an ending," she had told me months earlier. "It's a complex transition point, an opportunity for comprehensive personal redesign." My approach to relationships fundamentally transformed. I wasn't seeking to replace what was lost, but to develop a more sophisticated understanding of personal connection, mutual growth, and individual authenticity. The AI Ethics Project became a metaphorical extension of my personal journey. We were developing algorithms capable of recognizing complex behavioral patterns, of understanding nuanced human interactions, much like I had learned to do in my personal life. Financial advisors helped me see the divorce not as an economic setback, but as a strategic repositioning opportunity. Investments were realigned, career strategies recalibrated, personal development prioritized. Elena Martinez's final piece of advice echoed persistently. Your current challenge isn't about what you've lost. It's about developing the capacity to continuously redesign your personal and professional ecosystems. The final stage of my transformation wasn't about reaching a destination, but about embracing continuous personal evolution. Technova Solutions became more than a workplace. It became a platform for holistic personal and professional development. The AI Ethics Project I led gained international recognition, positioning me as a thought leader in adaptive technological systems design. My approach to leadership transformed. I wasn't just managing technical projects, I was creating ecosystems of collaborative innovation. The lessons learned from navigating personal challenges became my most valuable professional asset. Professional networks expanded strategically. Each connection became an opportunity for mutual growth, for understanding complex human and technological systems. Conferences, workshops, and collaborative projects became vehicles for continuous personal and professional redesign. The downtown loft remained my strategic base of operations, a carefully designed space that reflected my evolved perspective, minimalist, intentional, with dedicated areas for professional development, creative exploration, and personal wellness. Relationships took on a new dimension. I wasn't seeking to replace what was lost, but to develop a more sophisticated understanding of human connection. Dating became an opportunity for mutual exploration, for understanding individual growth trajectories. Financial strategies continued to evolve. Investments were no longer just economic decisions, but strategic life design components. Retirement planning, professional development funds, personal wellness investments all became part of a comprehensive life architecture. Dr. Rodriguez's final counseling session captured the essence of my journey. You've transformed a potential crisis into a strategic personal redesign, she observed. Most people survive challenges. You've chosen to systematically grow through them. Mark Thompson remained a critical support system. Our conversations evolved from professional mentorship to a deep friendship founded on mutual respect and continuous personal growth. The AI Ethics Project became a living metaphor for personal transformation. We were developing technological systems capable of adaptive learning, of recognizing and responding to complex ethical landscapes, much like I had learned to do in my personal life. Elena Martinez's insights continued to resonate. Personal growth wasn't about reaching a fixed state of being, but about developing the capacity for continuous adaptation, for strategic personal redesign. As I stood on the balcony of my loft, overlooking the Seattle skyline, I recognized a fundamental truth. Life isn't about avoiding challenges, but about developing the resilience to navigate them with intelligence, grace, and intentional growth. The divorce wasn't an ending. It was a profound beginning. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.